My houseplants started growing in patterns I didn't plant them in, and now they're cultivating something that isn't meant to grow indoors. I decided to become a plant parent 6 months ago after moving into my new apartment. Started simple: a few succulents, some pothos, a snake plant. Nothing exotic, just standard houseplants to make the space feel more alive. I'm naturally good with plants, apparently. Everything I bought thrived immediately. My friends joked that I had magic hands because even their dying plants would perk up after spending a weekend at my place. Within a month, I had 12 plants, then 20, then I stopped counting. People started giving me their struggling plants to rehabilitate, and I couldn't say no. My apartment became a green sanctuary. Then, about 8 weeks ago, I noticed my plants were rearranging themselves, not moving locations. I'd still put them in the same spots, but their growth patterns were changing. Vines were reaching toward specific corners instead of windows. Leaves were orienting toward dark spaces rather than light sources. I assumed they were competing for resources or responding to air currents I couldn't feel. Plants are smarter than people think. I started researching plant communication and root networks, but that was just the beginning of my plants defying everything I knew about botany. The succulents started growing at impossible speeds. My jade plant doubled in size overnight. The aloe vera sprouted 12 new shoots in a single day, all pointing toward my bedroom door. My pothos vines were creating geometric patterns as they grew along the walls, perfect spirals and right angles that couldn't happen naturally. When I tried to redirect them, they'd return to the same formations within hours. The most unsettling change was the flowering. Plants that never bloom indoors were producing flowers, but wrong ones. My snake plant grew tiny blue blossoms that smelled like copper. The rubber tree sprouted white flowers that only opened at night. I started documenting everything with photos, thinking maybe I'd discovered some new horticultural phenomenon, but the pictures showed normal plant growth. The weird patterns and impossible flowers didn't appear in any photos, only to my direct observation. What happened next made me realize my plants were cultivating something beyond themselves. 2 weeks ago, I found soil in places I'd never put plants. Rich, dark earth scattered across my kitchen counter. A perfect circle of potting soil on my bathroom floor. Dirt under my fingernails despite not gardening for days. The plants were somehow spreading soil throughout my apartment, creating growing spaces in areas with no light or drainage. And they were planting things I'd never bought. Strange seedlings appeared overnight in the mysterious soil patches. Tiny plants with leaves I couldn't identify, growing in impossible locations like inside my closet and under my bed. I tried cleaning up the soil, but it would reappear by morning. The mystery seedlings grew faster than anything I'd seen, developing from sprouts to mature plants in days. My apartment was becoming a jungle of species that shouldn't exist, thriving in conditions that should kill them. Last week, I woke up to find my entire bedroom carpeted in soft moss that hadn't been there when I went to sleep. The walls were covered in climbing vines with thorns that glowed faintly in the dark. I tried to remove the moss, but it had grown through the floorboards. The glowing vines had somehow grown inside the walls themselves. The plants were claiming my living space, converting it into something that could support whatever they were really trying to grow. The recording I made last night revealed what that something is. At 2 a.m., all my plants began moving, not growing, but physically moving their pots across the floor, repositioning themselves into a massive spiral pattern with my bed at the center. Then they started singing, not rustling or creaking, but actual harmonized tones, like a choir of voices I could barely hear. At the center of their spiral, something began pushing up through the floorboards. Not a plant, something else. Something that needed all of this preparation, all of this cultivation to finally break through. I woke up this morning embedded in the moss, with vines wrapped gently around my arms and legs. The plants are keeping me here, keeping me still, while whatever they've been growing completes its emergence. I can feel roots spreading beneath my skin now. I think I understand. I wasn't cultivating the plants. They were cultivating me.